After a couple of years of waiting, The Last of Us Season 2 Part 1 is finally out, and oh boy, I'm honestly at a loss for words here, folks. Now, before I talk about the show, I feel like I should acknowledge the fact that I'm like one of 6 people in the world who don't hate The Last of Us Part 2. Now, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of things to critique in the game, specifically in regards to its story structure and how disconnected and messy the two corresponding stories can be. However, with the format of television, you have an opportunity to improve on or streamline the narrative in a more succinct and linear way, which is what I was hoping they'd do this season. So what did I think of Season 2? Did they improve on the shortcomings of the video game? Was it worth splitting the story into 3 seasons? No. Not at all. This season is shockingly bad. I've written this script like 3 times and every single one of them just consists of me rambling. Hey, editing Aeronaut here. Just wanted to let y'all know, big spoiler alert for the whole fucking video. And that bit about me rambling and how I had to change the script because of that reason. Yeah, don't believe that. I still ramble in this whole fucking video, so you're just gonna have to get over it. There's so much bullshit to cover that it got to a point where I debated not even reviewing this season. Not just because of the lackluster season, but on some real shit, it didn't feel right for me to slap an arbitrary number score on this season, cause it's not a complete narrative. Yeah, if you don't know, the showrunner revealed that the story of Part 2 will be split into 2 seasons. Hell, just recently it was revealed that a 3rd season is required to tell the story of Part 2. And man, I gotta say, this season does not justify that decision at all. Not only does it end on a ridiculous cliffhanger, but narratively, it doesn't do anything to impact or improve the story. You see, The Last of Us Part 2 isn't exactly the longest story to adapt. At most, you could finish the game in like 20 hours and still have plenty of material to tweak or change and still fit into 1 season. You'd think with this decision, the writers would take time to maybe flesh out some characters who maybe never got the spotlight or were perhaps a little half-baked in the game. But no, they don't do it. The show starts with Abby and all it tells us about her is that Joel killed her dad and now she's mad. Well, that would have been a nice little twist in episode 2. We don't get to see her perspective of the story and what got her to this point in her life, or hell, what she did prior to the apocalypse. Nope. We spend the whole season following Ellie and Dina on their little will they, won't they lesbian murder quest. And let me tell you something, man. It's one thing to not give us some perspective on the main antagonist, but it's another when the main protagonist just consists of these 2 people bullshitting around and traveling to a city. For some reason, they decide to shelve their relationship to focus on... Actually, you know what? I don't even know what they decide to focus on. I guess they wanted to show us more conversations between them, but they didn't do anything to build up their relationship or how they changed throughout the narrative. Hell, Dina straight up says she's not gay after she gay kisses Ellie. Then a few episodes later, Ellie gets bit trying to save her. Side point, this part is so fucking stupid. Dina has no thoughts or feelings about Ellie getting bit. She does not hesitate to try and fucking murder her right here. And Ellie literally says, "I'm gonna go to sleep. Watch me the whole night until I wake up and you'll see that I'm immune." Dog. What the fuck? But anyways, Dina tells Ellie she's not gay. Then after Ellie saves her and they do this stupid ass back and forth, Ellie being immune affects her so much that she reveals that she's pergananant and proceeds to have sex with Ellie. Yo, what? This is when I started to notice something. As soon as I clocked this issue that's been present throughout the story, I started hating this season even more. So you're probably thinking, hey, it's a complicated emotional moment. What, girls can't be girls now? I already knew Ellie was going to be a gay little hobo in the story, but what frustrates me is that at this point in the story, Ellie is hell-bent on killing Abby. Throughout the entire season, Ellie never feels as angry or driven by rage the way she was in the game. If anything, it looks like she doesn't even care half the time, but then Abby gets mentioned and it's like she's reminded of her motivation for wanting revenge, as if the writers noticed they made the season too boring. The show is so tonally dissonant that you'll go from one scene where characters will be chumming it up and having a laugh to a scene where people are getting fucking murdered. Why the fuck am I supposed to care about the stakes when the series doesn't even bother to show me the real overarching threat? They can't rely on the good faith of people who've played the games because this is a TV show. You can't expect me to be invested just because I know the stakes and characters of the video game. You gotta give me a reason to give a fuck. Don't even get me started on how much they disregard characters who could have been more important and improved from the games. Tommy spends the majority of this season just being off somewhere, doing things. Sure, he gets a cool moment where he goes sicko mode on a bloater, but unlike his video game counterpart, he's not present for Joel's death. For some reason, they switch him with Dina, and it does nothing for the narrative. It doesn't offer anything new for Dina and Tommy, who's just delegated to being the disgruntled brother who's now Ellie's new babysitter. Hell, he never really gets a moment to talk about his death. We never get to see his mindset when he's making the decision to go to Seattle. It's almost like he doesn't give a fuck and just supports Ellie in killing Joel's murderer. I mean, for Christ's sake, if you want to talk about character downgrades, I swear to God, it felt like the writers made it their fucking mission to ruin Ellie's character. Now, unlike the unhinged dumb fucks on the internet, Bella Ramsey's acting and their looks aren't what hold them back in this season. Bella Ramsey is a very talented actor, and let's be real, none of their haters online will ever be as talented or relevant, so I don't even know why the fuck y'all are talking shit. But unfortunately for Bella, they do not get the chance to flex their acting skills here. For some reason, Ellie is 19 years old and still acts like a fucking 14-year-old. Now, don't misunderstand my criticism. I know it sounds like I don't want levity in an overall dark story, but the problem is that Ellie literally feels the same she did in season 1. We don't see her progression in her age and how the events of the story affect her outlook and mindset of the world. And for some reason, the writers decided to make her really fucking stupid. It's one thing to minimize her unhinged drive to get revenge, but when she starts accidentally getting into situations that require her to make harsh decisions or do shitty things, it comes off like she's just a klutzy child who did an oopsie. Mind you, she beat the fuck out of someone who didn't directly kill Joel, but gets all big sad when she accidentally kills a pregnant woman. Now, I'm not saying this shouldn't affect her mentally, but when we don't even showcase her jaded mindset and lesbian hobo revenge rampage, it doesn't feel like a moment that's earned. It felt like a fish out of water story where the characters act like they've never done anything smart in their lives. Again, the show is so tonally fucked up that every concept or idea is either wasted or doesn't have any overall impact. Oh, and Jesse's here. Just to hang out and get unceremoniously killed. However, I can talk about all these critiques I have, but there is one single thing that I hate the most about this new season. It's the one thing I wish they hadn't changed from the game, and unfortunately dissolves the overall quality of the story. My biggest gripe with The Last of Us Season 2 Part 1 is the fact that the writers have made it their goddamn mission to ridicule every ounce of nuance and subtext from the game. So for those of you who don't know, The Last of Us Part 2 was noted for its use of subtext to mixed perception. For some reason, a lot of people misunderstood the point of the ending and started bitching about stupid shit, as the internet usually does. Like it or not, it was still a key part of the narrative, and the game never felt like it was spoon-feeding you information for you to understand the point. However, the same cannot be said about the show. Season 2 spends a majority of the runtime telling us how to feel and what the underlying themes are.
So you think she might have learned that behavior from him? Turns out nurture can only do this much. The rest is nature. If she's on a path, it's not one that Joel put her on. Yeah. No, I think they were walking side by side from the very start.
Oh, You don't fucking say. Yeah, thanks, Craig Mazin. Totally needed this spelled out for me like I'm fucking stupid. Look, man, I don't want to sound condescending, but I get that most people don't think in depth about the media they consume, but holy shit, the way the writers try to overcorrect this fucking much is so insulting, and it ruins what the eventual end to the story will be. I don't need to be told that Ellie's going down a similar path that Joel did. That's the whole goddamn point of the game, and it's not that fucking hard to understand. I also don't need to be told why Joel killed the doctors. I will repeat my previous statement. I got the fucking message. I mean, for fuck's sake, they try to shoe in an aspect of Joel's childhood where his dad was an abusive asshole. He straight up says that he hopes Joel does a better job than he did, only for Joel to repeat the same thing to Ellie. So I guess we can add stripping away all nuance of future scenes that haven't even come out yet. Gee, HBO, you shouldn't have. It's so fun knowing what the point of this scene is going to be without any sort of suspense or anticipation for how the story will play out. Now, I understand that I'm someone who's watching the show as someone who's played the games, but for fuck's sake, we don't need to make newcomers feel like they're fucking children. I wouldn't even be bitching this much if they had just cut certain scenes from the game and made the story more linear. So as I stated before, this story did not need to be split into multiple seasons, and there were much simpler ways to tell said story. I'm not even bullshitting you. This feels exactly like what happened with the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Disney overcorrected really fucking hard to piss off the least amount of people who didn't like The Last Jedi. Then people fucking hated The Rise of Skywalker anyways. Cause outside of the diehard Last of Us fans who will praise anything the show does, a lot of people are not particularly happy with this new season and have also expressed disappointment with how the story was adapted. So yeah, I hope it was worth dumbing down the narrative to accommodate the people who didn't understand the very obvious themes of the story. You know what? I have nothing else to talk about in regards to the show. I can go on and on about how much they dropped the ball this season, but I think you get my point. Some of you might say that I'm being too critical of the story when it isn't even done yet, but I can't imagine that they can salvage what they've already put out. I'll still check out the next seasons, and I'll probably have a lot to say about them too. All I have left to say is that this season gave me a feeling I haven't felt since The Walking Dead ended a few years ago. A finale that only existed to make ways for other projects and prolong a story that didn't need to be. These are dark times we're in, gamers. These next two seasons are gonna break my goddamn brain. A 4 feels too low and a 5 feels way too generous, so we're going with the half score this time, my dudes. So I'm gonna give The Last of Us Season 2 Part 1 a 4.5 out of 10. Honestly, I don't really give a fuck. I'm so fucking tired of talking about this show.
What the hell? Jerk move, bro. That's seriously not cool. You know what? As revenge, I'm gonna hunt everyone you love down and kill them.